Yeah, sure.
All right, so we're back here with Jeff McFall. Jeff, how you doing today? I can't wait to hear what you have to say, what's been going on in the precious metals. But tell us how you doing, what's going on.
Hey, man, how you doing?
All right.
Good to talk to you again. It's been a little while. I can't remember last time we talked, but yeah, obviously, you probably tell by my face, I'm excited, like pumped to do this one. You and I have actually communicated a couple times since that last time we talked, and just haven't, been able to work the schedules and stuff. By the way, congratulations. You hadn't had the little one um,
Thank you.
last we spoke, so that I think that happened just a few days after the last time we talked. So obviously you've been busy, but yeah, congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Everything good, right?
Everything's good. We just try to tell them to go outside, all the little kids, so they don't run into the door here and mess up our legendary meeting here, our interview. So
Got it. Cool.
hopefully it works
Yeah,
out. As you
good
know,
stuff, man.
man, I really hope a lot of people get to see this. I really think and I'm not saying this because here is me and you talking here. A lot of these interviews, when I watch them, everybody's try to be, kissing everybody's, what, to make it look like. I really appreciate the way you see things. I mean, your mind is not typical. Okay, there is so much to unpack when I talk to you. It is amazing the way you see things. And like you said on one of our previous videos, you mentioned that your whole Twitter page is one big silver chart. Okay. And this is where you've been breaking things down. You've been trying to let people know. We try to talk about it, how we see things, why, and how. Well, people just getting stuck with these 5% moves that are weekly, daily. It's
Oh
you
man.
see a big
Yeah.
picture. Go ahead and tell us
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit more about your big picture here. On let's just stick with silver, okay? Let's just talk silver.
Yeah,
This
sure, sure. Yeah. No, this is gonna be fun. So, anyways, you noticed that we talked about it right before we got on the call. So I wore a nice shirt today. Usually I'm really casual. I got like a
like
sweater
me.
on or whatever,
Yep.
t-shirt. So anyways, a couple weeks ago, I was just watching the charts. I watch them every day. Silver particularly. Everything's on Twitter. If you go on there, or X, I keep it day by day on it. Done it since I joined on there. And just the other day, I saw something in there. I don't know what particular day it was. I'll go back maybe if I can remember specifically, but I saw something that morning or that evening before, and I was like, you know what? I'm dressing up tomorrow, and again, this isn't dressed up, but by today's standards, and for me, it's dressing up. So I put on a nice shirt when I went down. I think it was this shirt, might have been another one, but I got my kids ready for school and walked them down to the bus. I was in a nice collared shirt and all this stuff, and because I knew at that moment, and I was like, you know what, this is something changed at that moment. It's been going along all the way, but sure enough, right after, boy, I mean, we shot to 3250 we got to recently, and it's just you can't I can't describe how the I guess the sentiment, if you will, is responding on Twitter. And honestly, I haven't really had a ton of time to talk this through with people. It's just amazing that you would swear that we just broke down and the whole thing is falling apart. And I mean, it's beyond me. It's beyond me. And it just kind of, I guess, it just lets me know that this we got so far to go. I mean, it hadn't even started yet. It hadn't even started yet. That's the I guess the key of this thing that's hard to verbalize, and I try to put it more into the charts as far as like how momentous this is going to be. And there's a lot of people now that are putting out more silver charts, and that's good. I want as much exposure on all that as possible. But you can again go back through the entire history of my Twitter profile, and you've got the 2021 through present day inverse head and shoulders. And if you need technical stuff, just go to Google. But it's a technical pattern and a really powerful one. That whole thing has been forming out since the silver squeeze, and we broke out of that. I mean, this is an insane amount of energy that is being released that you can see on a chart, right? In the silver market, gold too, but again, we're just talking silver here. And it's at a time where look at what's happening in the world. The DXY, if you guys go look at the DXY, which is the dollar index, which again, we know it's not what you're paying in the grocery store. The DXY is 50% euro, whatever, and then it's got the yen and the krona and all that stuff in it. It looks like the exact opposite of the silver chart. It is an inverse crossbow, as I put it, or inverse head and shoulders that goes back to roughly, I don't know, 2022 or 21. I can't remember exactly. And that thing, I mean, we are going into a 3-day weekend. The charts are just looking like it looks like we are at a moment where there is the only way this thing can be expressed any further is by some kind of event, if you will. And there are some accounts that talk about it on Twitter. The guy that I see most mentioning it is Young Pretender, I think, and I think that's his handle.
Yes.
All he's been doing is talking about revaluation for like the last 6 weeks or something. And I like from a technical standpoint, that is what it looks like is going to happen on, like, when you look at it on a chart and you hear what Michael Oliver said. Michael Oliver, I mean, the guy, he's having a hard time containing himself on the calls he's doing. I can tell the way he's talking. He's like, I can't give price targets because, I mean, people are scared they're going to sound crazy. But no, I mean, this thing, the amount of energy being released, it's the only thing left in the economy that they can do to keep this thing going is to actually let the debt devalue versus everything that's real. And it doesn't matter if you've got Nvidia, Bitcoin, freaking whatever, anything that's gone to the moon, either that's going to stay at the moon and the silver and the gold are going to catch it and surpass it, or something's going to meet in the middle and they're going to cross going the other way. One way or another, though, at this point, it is just evidently clear that this thing, there is a momentous event that is going to come, and you are either going to be positioned for this or you are not. And it's amazing to see that I still, in my own personal life, like, people around me, they've seen this kind of all unfold, like they've seen my charts, and it's still not quite grasping the I can't again can't find the right word, but the how momentous an event this will be. You know, Americans or maybe everyone in the world losing a 50% standard of living overnight. Just like, I mean, and so I think that's what we're going to see. I think that's the only way this debt can be done. And I think that's why there's just so much stuff going on in the world that we see, distractions and so on and so forth. It's crazy. So anyways, that's just like, there's so much going through my mind right now in regard to just what this breakout in silver means. The next 3 to 6 months are going to be momentous. No other way to say it.
So for those listeners that are not sure exactly what the cup and the handle is, I'm not into charts at all. You know that. I'm more of a macro. I look at the big picture. But this is just aligning together. It's basically if you pick up a smaller coffee cup. I got coffee here, but it's in a mug, so that would not work. It actually has to have a handle. And that's basically what it looks like. It's a nice little like circle and the handle on the side. And that's basically what this chart for silver and gold has been making now for 50 years, 50. And silver is still.
So the way you really look at, if you look at the gold chart, you can't even, and Mike Maloney does this, the Hidden Secrets of Money guy. And again, I've said it on your shows before. If you all have not watched Hidden Secrets of Money at this moment, you can turn me and Marco off. Go watch the entire series and then come back and finish watching me and Marco. All right. Because the guy lays the entire thing out 10 years ago. Oh, Peter Schiff laid this out 10, 20 years ago. All this, I mean, it's amazing. And so, it's, you have this formation that the gold cup and handle is not really, you go back to 2000, it's more like a 25-year bull flag cup and handle continuation pattern. This is one massive pattern. And if you go back to see, okay, well, what was happening in the world in the year 2000 when this all got started? Well, I mean, the 2000s got off obviously with a major macro event that ended up leading to all of what we know of, the last 20 years, 25 years of United States foreign policy. And now we're breaking out of that structure in gold. For silver, it's 50 years to going back to the 60s. When we came up, when they took the silver out of the coinage, a 50, 60-year cup and handle. I mean, these things are, again, that's when I reference the amount of energy. These charts, the patterns, they're nothing more than human market participant behavior expressed in chart form. And if you can just identify, this is where we are in the pattern, you can look at like the golden ratio and Fibonacci's and all that stuff. And we are at a point where these patterns are becoming so clear. Every single little correction is making this just identical pattern. And I represent it on Twitter with the little happy emoji. And this guy, I just changed his handle. I can't remember what it is. Gold Grumpy Grandpa or something. He threw up on one of my charts one day. This little smiley face, and so like that's this little pattern is appearing everywhere now, and it's just fascinating to see what's going on in the world right now. And also the maybe more fascinating part of it is how few people are even slightly aware of it. And it's just, I feel lucky to be alive at this time. And like, again, just to be lucky enough to be able to share it with you. You know what I mean? Like this, whatever's going on. And because it's going to be a major change. And I think it's a great opportunity for people who are prepared, not even like physically with money wise, but just your mental state. It's gonna the whole world's gonna change. Whole world's
Yes.
gonna change.
Well, going back what you just said, Jeff, a lot of people do not want to acknowledge technicals. They don't want to they don't want to look at macro. They don't want to look at history. Everything that is connected with actually silver and gold, you can sum it up in, I'm sure you've seen the first GIF from Max Kaiser when he would tag Peter Schiff with the guy throwing up, and shaking, that's what they all feel like when you mention physical gold and silver or platinum or palladium,
Yeah.
whatever, right? Precious metals. They just want to say, you know what? I thought this was the old relic. It is gone. It is done. Mark Cuban tweeting about it when gold an ounce was roughly around 18 or 1900, saying, or might have been 1650, I forget. It was basically 30 or 40% less than it is now, or definitely at least 30%. And he was saying golf is golf. I did not play golf. I played tennis today. Gold is dead. That's what he tweeted. And from that point on, it was just like me and you talked about. It was almost like, okay, buy opportunity for all the smart money to come in when you got these big names that just want to divert all these confused people that don't want to have any part of it. So that's what's going on. They're going to ignore everything and say, no, I was right. You guys were wrong. And this time it will be different. But guess what? It won't.
No, it's we just I put a chart up this morning of and again, like just for reference, none of this, we don't give financial advice. We're just telling you what we do and sharing our life's experience and yada yada. Definitely don't buy the miners that I buy, because I buy the most high risk, like all this stuff. So anyways, one of them I'm going to reference here, Fury Gold. I've bought it for a long time. I bought it when it was way up before it was split. I bought it when it's been way down. I've just stacked the thing, right?
Fury.
And I was looking at this chart this morning, and it is on a big picture scale, right? I put a comment on there, and it was, this is going to go into history books as a chart representative of 99.99% of world population thinking that a debt-based monetary system will go on forever, and that gold or silver or precious metals will not be needed anymore.
Mhm.
And it's just this chart of like this compressed wedge of and it's kind of funny. I mean, for me, I already kind of like, you know, anyways, we'll see how it all shakes out over the coming weeks and months or whatever. But it's just amazing. It is amazing. And so that's your market mentality. That's your mentality of pretty much everyone on the planet expressed in that chart, of which gold and silver, or the thought of needing precious metals, is literally not even in anyone's mind. Not in anyone's mind. That company owns like 15 or 20% of another silver company. They like, you're essentially, when you buy that company, if you all do some research on this, it's pretty amazing actually. They have so they have an equity position in another silver miner, cash on hand, and I mean they trade for essentially what the
Was it
equity value
45
is
cents?
in the other company and their cash value. I mean, it's like, so I hear these things and I am a novice. I am a, like, I have a full-time job. I'm doing this on my lunch break. You know what I mean? And it's just insane to me that I mean, it just leads me to believe this is nothing but algorithms selling all day long. Whatever it is, I don't know, but however you and I respond to it as market participants, however everyone else out there in the world responds to it as market participants, it expresses in these, you know, these patterns that we see, you know, on the
Yes.
charts. And it's wake up time. Like that's what the gold's trying to say, like wake up time, you know. This is and still nobody, you know,
Nobody.
nobody
It's
cares.
what
Nobody
did Rick
cares.
Rick Rule did this reversion to mean. He basically talks about going back like 50, 60 years, so whatever, 5 decades or so. It was 2 to 3% of population that actually was in precious metals, equities, and actual physical
Yeah, two to three
possessions
percent
of
of investable
assets.
assets.
Yes, and now
Yeah,
it's one half, 0.5% basically.
yeah.
Nowhere even close to 1%. So what he's looking at, it is just the basic math here. If it happens just the way it was, it doesn't have to overshoot anything, even though we have so much more debt now than going back to 50 years.
Don't
It's
even do
going to
that. Just
quadruple.
double it. Just double it.
Just double
Just
it.
double
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Just
It's
go to
not.
1%. I mean,
Yes,
so
we're nowhere
so
close.
at
It's
one
unbelievable.
percent, at 1%, you could essentially double the gold price from today. So you'd be looking at what, $5,000 gold, essentially. And then you would have to then, okay, so now all the derivatives, i.e., the miners that own it in the ground, now you've got to reprice them for that. I mean, this is why, like, it's not going to, a lot of people aren't going to understand, because we live in an exponential time. Chris Martenson talks about this in all of his stuff, like with peak prosperity and all that. We live in an exponential time, and the human mind is not geared for understanding exponential growth. Like, once you get to a certain point, and for me it was September 2018 when I saw that Apple had a $1 trillion market cap, and I learned that a trillion years ago, or a trillion seconds, was 32,000 years. I'm like, oh my god, this is like, it's coming apart tomorrow. And
Yeah,
I,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
that was the day. That was the day that I, like, it just, for me it was all at once. And see, the problem now, we're getting to the point, like, more and more people are hitting that stage where it's like, huh, yeah, so if you do attach an interest to any number over a long enough period of time, you end up in infinity. That's a real problem. That's a
Yeah,
real
but then
problem, because that's how
obviously
our entire,
we have cryptos,
that's a
we got
real,
NFTs, we got Nvidias, we've got all the tech that's going to, hold up. Because as you know, going back in history, tech, you know, always showed how it can protect you during inflation. It wasn't gold and silver; it was the tech sector, that
dude.
protected people. It
We,
was not commodities; it was tech. Like, come on, it is. To
I
me, I look
think
at it as simply as I can.
the 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 shift that we're going to see that's coming up, because again, like, we have, all you got to do, pull up a non-logarithmic chart. So pull up a linear chart. Anybody that's watching this, all 50 of you, and pull up the linear chart of the Dow Jones or the NASDAQ or whatever. And it is a straight vertical line up for the last, especially the last, 14, 15, 20 years, whatever, since 2008. Vertical. And before, and even more vertical since 2020. I mean, this stuff is, it's amazing. So like, for when people say that it's not going to happen in these other markets, it has to. It has to. This is like, in a we gotta start looking at things in relative value, or it's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard. People are going to find their life just more and more challenging unless you can understand what real value is. Like,
Yes.
and again, that's, look, dude, using Bitcoin as an example, it's great. I wish I could have caught that ride from nothing to 70,000. But everything now is going to have to adjust itself versus the fact that Bitcoin, like, okay, it's at 70,000, 67,000. Maybe it stays there, maybe not. I don't know, but you've got to have wheat adjust up to that. You got to have gold adjust up to that. You got to have everything. There is,
Yes.
over long periods of
Yes.
time, a big sine wave of relative value. And sorry, like, nothing is just moon. It just isn't. And so we're in a period of time right now where gold and silver happen to still be at the lowest relative value versus pretty much anything else out there. And when that changes, this one, because of the amount of leverage that we're talking today, I mean, what, 34 trillion in public debt, US, and God knows how many hundreds of trillions around the world. I think it's 300 or 400 trillion. So
Yeah.
all the leverage that's out there, it has to, it's gotta all unwind. It's got to equalize. It's just, it's like high and low pressure systems. I mean, these things have to just, you know, it's
Yeah.
just laws of
So
nature. It's laws of nature. This is all it is. It's amazing.
laws of nature. Going back to real quick, just going back to Dixie. For those people that me and you follow each other a lot on Twitter, so you kind of know where my head is on this. And I got involved with some people plenty times with some bigger names. They were kind of irritating me with all the comments all the time about how everything is so great in United States. And someone like, for instance, George Gammon, the guy lives in Colombia. Okay. And I think he's doing pretty well for himself, which is great.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And his dollar is going to go a lot more in places like Argentina that he was just recently visiting. So for those that are not understanding what the Dixie is, it's a basket of currencies, like Jeff mentioned about 10 minutes ago when we started a video, that are compared to other bad currencies like the yens, like the euro, and it's heavily in euro and the yen. And of course, now the Dixie looks really good when you look at the chart, and it looks like it's strong. They call it the dollar is strong. Yes, the dollar is strong. If me and Jeff go right now and go to Buenos Aires and decide to have a great steak dinner and have a $300 bottle of wine, we might spend $500 on dinner, like two kings, what it would cost us $1,500 probably in some mediocre place in United States. So the dollar goes a long way if you hold dollars in other countries, but we know what's going on here. I just pulled up a chart. I don't know if you saw me tweet this. I still call it Twitter. I like it way better than I like Elon Musk
Yeah.
than the other freak, even though I don't trust any of them. But I just want to give listeners a real quick numbers here. And this is from, I forget what the source was. This is just McDonald's price increases. The reason I'm talking about McDonald's.
Oh, yeah, I saw this recently.
So we got the medium French fries end of 2019. $1.79, mid 2024 price, 4.19, so $4.19. So that's 134% increase just on French fries. And I'm just going to go with another one real quick, if you don't mind, Jeff. It's
go for it, man.
Big Mac, $3.99, end of 2019. So $3.99 for Big Mac. $7.58 mid 2024 price, which is the increase of almost 90%. So I've been talking about, I believe that food has been up, and I'm in food business. I follow that very closely. I know what's going on at the cattle auction, how much the calves cost now when it comes to heifers, steer, etc. I know that we are at 100 to 200% rise on the things that actually people need. Now,
Yeah.
someone might say, I do not need to buy calves. Well, I don't eat at McDonald's. These are just examples what I'm talking about. Go call
Yeah.
for your propane service to get filled up. Have an issue, have a leak in the house. Go call somebody. Go call your plumber and let me know how inflation is at 3%. When they'll charge you $250 or $500. I had a generator that I always talk about. It's my pride and joy here. Generator that's propane run, basically on and off grid, that can run the entire house. It was an issue with it. I had the actual Generac people that showed up. The guy charged me $500 just to show up. It ended up being a battery because I'm clueless when it comes to fixing things and I don't want to deal with it. And I got a couple of guys that usually fix things, but these guys, they hit the bottle somewhere, unfortunately, and you can't find them for days. And I need them to fix
Yeah.
stuff. And that's kind of like the way I see it, as 100 and
Yeah.
100% to 200% inflation in the things that we need.
Yep. Yeah. No. At least. And so that's on the guy to get the generator fixed. I mean, that's if you're lucky to get him out. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yes.
so yeah. It's everywhere. And the gammon thing, and that is like that's the part. And we for me, it's an easy concept. I understand that the dollar is a good currency. I don't think it's going to go away. It's for currencies. We all use currencies, so that's fine. And the dollar is the strongest one out of them currently. I don't think it's going to be that way in the future, but whatever. Maybe I'm wrong. It doesn't matter though. They're all fiat currencies, and if you spend your fiat currency and you save in metals, it's such an easy concept that like you don't have to do one or the other. Like I use dollars every day. I use them, and whatever. I got to use them because I have to. And so, yeah, yeah, it's great. It's great for conducting transactions, but it's not good for saving long term wealth. Like it essentially, I look at gold now as just it's just a savings account, and then if I look at gold as a savings account, I can look at various other things that gold is overvalued versus, such as silver, and say, well, that's going to be a better savings account. And so, to your point of like what you're seeing in the world of cows right now, right? I want to get into that stuff. I want to get into that stuff, and I'm going to, because this is how we rebuild our country, right? And we started talking about this because I think we understand that there's a bigger picture here that's wrong. Like we got to work this out. We got to rebuild our country, and so it's going to take farmers. It's going to take people making copper pipes and whatever else around the country that we have outsourced all of for the last 50 years. And so what I look forward to is when this thing goes down and gold and silver revalue versus all the things they're undervalued versus, and the miners do that same thing, right? You cash out, right? You do take some profits. Now, I'm not talking about any physical metal here. This is my own personal thing. You cash out of some of your paper investments, and then you go and look at like, all right, well now based on how much this revaluation process, how much is my dollar worth today, versus where I was for the cows that Marco is dealing with? Because me personally, we're going to have to eat. We're going to have to eat in the future, and I would like to look into future business opportunities that will be long-term cash producing businesses, because that's like, otherwise we don't have an economy, right? And I think that's what like gold and silver are nothing but a tool. Money is nothing but a tool, and we have corrupted the money to the point where we no longer have a functioning economy. It's nothing but, in the United States, it really is nothing but consumption. This is really all it is. And so we need to change that. We need to start producing our own food. We need to start producing our own pretty much everything. Because I know everything that I purchase, at least that I look on the back, at least any consumer goods, they're definitely not made here. So I think we need to change that. And I think for long term, the extreme undervaluation on a relative basis of gold and silver If you are storing your dollar wealth in it today, or any fiat wealth in that, in metal form, precious metal form, I think you'll have a better shot at, coming out ahead of whatever is going to come in the next few months or whatever, because it seems like it's going to be pretty imminent. I mean, you don't get a breakout of, getting back to the technical aspect, you don't get a breakout like we got a breakout in gold specifically, and then, silver when it broke over 30. Those don't happen for no reason. These are major events, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would to finish off in the next couple of minutes here. I'd like to do a video with you too, or I'm gonna try to get Greg Cranon as well. He was on the show one time. We talk a lot on the inbox messages, like me and you on Twitter, and he'd like to go back on. I like to talk to him a little bit more about real estate and all that. And to finish, like I said today, which I'm going to touch up with you to see exactly where your brain is when it comes down to what are you really trying to do, let's say with cattle or business or overall food industry, because I think that's important, like you said, for people to know. My main thing has been knowing what inflation was going to do, and knowing that those in charge, which I call suits, are going to lie about, saying that inflation is way less than it actually is. My goal was to have cash flow. The whole point when I started the cattle business was in September of 2020, which was in the midst of so-called health event, which I won't even say because this channel will get nuked even more than it already is. So this is where I wanted to say, you know what? The goal for every single person out there, and I'm telling you from my own experience here, and we're going to touch up on this hopefully next Friday, me and you, I will give you something to think about, is how can you make $1 when you are not actually clocked in at work, right? How can you make $1 if you're sitting with your wife right now in somewhere, let's say Bahamas? Can you make $1 an hour from something, some kind of passive income, whether it's cattle business, renting income? Can you make $1? Can you make $8? $1 per hour out of the 8 work hours, roughly, right? 8 work hours. Can we come up with that? That's been my goal, and it took me a long time to figure that out, because a lot of people can say, I don't want to run out of time here. A lot of people can say, well, I do a lot more with the stock market. We all know a lot of that is lies, because you might have a whole week where you're making a lot more than $1 an hour. You might be making $1,000 an hour, but then you're going to have 50 days in a row or 2 months straight where you're losing all that you made. We're talking a for sure cash flow. How can Jeff McFall make $1 from someone right now while you're doing this interview? Like, for instance, I'm in tennis business, and you know that I play a lot of tennis. I have tennis school and all that. I have somebody else working for me right now on the tennis court. They are conducting a tennis lesson that I was able to train, to build a clientele, right? And right now, as I'm talking to you, I'm making $10 or $15 an hour as I'm sitting here. And this is not to brag about it. It doesn't happen all the time. It might be only 2-3 hours a day sometimes. But now all of a sudden I got 4 coaches, right? And I closed the deal with another club down the street, or one is an hour away. That's why I'm on the road a lot too. I'm not home. So this is something that would be beneficial to all of us, including me and you, picking each other's brains here on this show, instead of just blabbering about what is, what are these people doing that are in office, and pointing out the obvious but not having any solutions. So I leave you off.
I don't even pay attention to that anymore. Yes. My life got so much better when I stopped paying attention to all that stuff, and because it literally is just a sideshow. And so you focus on your own stuff. You figure out what's going on in the real world, like with inflation and all that, and life changes very, very fast. So yeah, look forward to it.
I can't wait. So you are Silverbark3 on Twitter, correct?
Correct.
Silver BARK and then just number 3, right? And I'll put the handle below. Yep. I will talk to you. I'm hoping next Friday. If not, we'll touch up on that, but we will talk a lot about passive income, cash flow, stuff like this, where people can protect themselves, not just holding the actual real money as savings, I think it would be very good. As you guys know, me and Jeff do not provide any type of life advice. We're not licensed in any of when it comes to financial advice. We just speak to you guys as two regular guys trying to
Just
make
two
sense
people
out of this
shooting the breeze, man.
shooting the
This
breeze.
is water cooler talk.
That's right. All right, my man. I'm looking forward to it. We'll see you. We'll see you soon. Hopefully next week. Take care.
All right. See you.
All right. Bye.